Hello everyone! Today I kind of wanted to do a bit of a different video, kind of like a sketch and chat sort of video. If you like these, I will definitely do more of them and therefore will most likely have to come up with a better name for these. But I mainly wanted to do this because I was actually thinking about this topic and I was really interested in hearing your thoughts or like experiences with this. And that is like artist rituals or habits, and then kind of from that, paranoias. I'm not exactly sure why I was thinking about this topic. I think it had to do a lot with, like, you know, it's fall time, the days are getting shorter, it's getting darker faster, because one of my big habits or rituals, I guess, is that I prefer to do my artwork at night. And it's just something I've just kind of gotten used to. I just feel that doing drawings and working on projects at night are vastly superior to ones that I kind of try and force out in the day. Like, I will obviously work on a watercolor painting during the day, but as far as like sketches and ideas go, I feel that nighttime is definitely my time for that. And I'm not exactly sure why. Like, there is scientific studies that kind of have gone into and proven that people are more creative thinking in more dimly lit conditions, and I don't know if that's kind of my thing or it's just kind of, I really like the atmosphere in my studio at night, you know, with the different lights that I can have on, or if it's just kind of the calmness and quietness of nighttime, you know, there's less distractions and disturbance. You can kind of, you know, there's not any intermittent things that are happening, so you can kind of paint the night away if you really want to. Like, lots of the time I will just be working for hours and then, you know, check the time and, oh, it's 2 in the morning and I've been painting for like 4 hours. So I'm not really sure why personally that is a thing for me. I'd be very interested in knowing if any of you feel that, you know, your drawing is, you know, you prefer a certain time of day, especially if, you know, some of you prefer to draw in the day. Maybe you feel that nighttime you're too tired and that's not when your kind of best ideas come out. And kind of from that, kind of the paranoia aspect is, I'm sure lots of artists, like myself included, get into these kind of ruts and then kind of lead into kind of paranoid tendencies. Just thinking about the nighttime idea, there was a point where I would do all of my sketching at night in my bed, like sitting up in bed. I have this like tabletop easel that I would like perch up on the mattress and like sit up in bed and draw. And it kind of became this paranoid thing where I would feel like I had to do that. Like, if I did not sit up in bed drawing at night, then it wasn't going to turn out well. Which thankfully I broke fairly fast, that habit, but it was definitely kind of, I don't know if you would say like a paranoia, definitely a ritual that I had, that I would always sit up in bed at night, doing different drawings and then working on them during the day or at night again. And another thing that recently came up that I didn't actively think about until after it had happened was, last year I recently switched studios, and it just kind of hit me midway through getting this studio finished that, you know, I had only, like, all of my artwork that I had created up until that point was done in my bedroom, which was also half, like, my studio workspace idea. And it just, you know, it kind of, in the back of my mind, a little bit, you know, I was a bit paranoid that, you know, I don't know if like the feng shui in the room or just the upset of this habit of always being in this one space, even though if you've seen, like, I have studio tours for both studios, you can see that they are quite similar in setup. Like, I still have the same desk, I have the same kind of setup for the other area. So they're quite similar, but obviously it's a different layout, it's a different room, it was all of this different stuff, and like we're talking about someone who was paranoid to not draw sitting up in bed. So it was probably a good thing that I kind of thought of that before or during, midway through switching studios and not before. Because obviously I was really excited about this new studio. It's a ton more space. I can do a bunch of amazing things with the extra room. But it definitely concerned me that, you know, what if all of my creative thoughts or whatever just are stuck in the other room? I don't know. That's like a stupid idea, but you know, artists are attached to their workspace. Like I'm sure you all have a favorite spot you like to work at. And when that is changed, you know, things happen. Like another kind of paranoid thing for me is, this is going to sound really stupid. There was a summer where I kind of really got into doing traditional art more. Up until that point, I had kind of only been doing paper crafts. That's kind of what I was known for online. But this one summer, I just kind of busted out a whole bunch of traditional art, and it was kind of the first time that I'd been recognized for traditional artwork. And I used the same pencil in all of these drawings during the summer. Like, still to this day, it is some of my most, I guess you could say, well-known work amongst certain groups or whatever. Definitely some of my favorite work, definitely like nostalgic for that. It was a great summer. I was really happy with the pieces I was producing. And so I have that pencil still in a cup on my desk that I will not use because I don't know if it's like a paranoia thing or a nostalgic thing that I just don't want to have to throw out this pencil, because it is I know 100% that it created all of these different paintings. Like that was the one pencil that I used. It's nothing even fancy. It's literally a 2H Staedtler pencil that I don't even use them anymore. So like it's not even like a fancy pencil. It was just, you know, but I know 100% which pencil that pencil is. So that's kind of a stupid paranoia thing. I would be really interested in knowing if any of you have experiences with art supplies you don't want to throw out for, I don't know, paranoia or nostalgic purposes. But I guess kind of also along the habits and paranoia thing is, I'm not sure if how many of you will have heard of the drawing on the right side of the brain book, but there was a time where I was kind of feeling creatively blocked, and you know, I picked up that book because it is a highly recommended book. It's quite famous, and the idea is it's kind of breaking down how your brain works and how you can kind of force or trick your brain into kind of working more efficiently, more creatively for you for drawings, kind of essentially teaching you how to teach your brain how to make artwork kind of idea. And that book can give you a bunch of paranoid ideas and tendencies. I know one of the ones that I did stick to and think about, and I still think about a lot to this day, is because it is breaking down how the brain works. Obviously, the right side of your brain is like the more creative functioning thing. That's kind of what stems the idea that left-handed people are more creative than right-handed people, because the opposite side of your brain controls that side of your body. So the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body. The left side of your brain controls the right side of your body. So that's kind of where that ridiculous kind of myth, I guess, comes from. But you can like find out, and like there are scientific studies of which side of the brain kind of controls what. And the right side is the creative side, I guess you could say. And on the opposite end of that, the left side is the, you know, linguistic, analytical side. And one of the things they literally, in this book, they go on about how, you know, to heighten your creativity, like, don't speak to someone for 30 minutes before you draw, which is like a crazy concept. But one of the ones that did stick with me was listening to instrumental music only. Because the idea that if your brain is hearing words, that's triggering the left side of your brain as opposed to the right side. And it doesn't necessarily affect me, but I do think of it quite often because I do listen to music, as I'm sure most of you do, listen to music while you are working on different artwork and pieces and stuff. And I don't necessarily actively think about it that, like, I do think about it, but it's not necessarily controlling my choices. Like, I will like fully sometimes just not feel like listening to music, just kind of wanting some silence. Sometimes I will be in the mood for instrumental music only. It really it depends more of what I'm working on and how I'm feeling. Not so much that I feel now that I'm only allowed or I should only be listening to instrumental music. But yeah, that book just kind of gives you crazy, ideas and paranoid tendencies. I'm sure there were many others that I can't think of, but that's definitely the one that stuck with me, rather. But yeah, I'm sure, like, obviously different rituals, I'm sure you all have like your favorite materials you like to use and different orders that you like to do things. Even if it's like drawing a face, maybe you like to do the outline of the face first, maybe you like to draw the eyes first. Like, there's lots of different ritual things like that. But I would really be interested in knowing, like, your thoughts on, any kind of environmental rituals. Like, if you have a certain place you like drawing, if you feel that you're more creative at a certain time, all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'd be super interested in hearing and, like, finding out what your thoughts on this subject are. And that's pretty much the end of this sketch. I didn't talk about anything that I was doing. I actually wasn't going to film this sketch at all, but I'd wanted to do this video, and I wanted to have some sort of painting going on while you hear me rambling on about possibly crazy ideas. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more of this kind of chat and sketch painting idea, definitely let me know. And if you have any other topics that you'd like me to speak about or talk about my thoughts on in these types of videos. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.